how many of you guys like to cook? How many of y'all like to cook? Not just musically, but just making food. Like, do y'all like cooking food? Because I had a really giant realization today. And I wish someone would have explained it to me like this when I was in college. But I learned so much with something very, very small. And I'll tell you how it happened. I'm currently at the moment about to like finish up a mix for a artist, and they were asking about, hey, can you make my vocals sound warmer? Now, when someone tells you, I want to make a sound warm, off rip, it kind of sounds like two totally different. It sounds like two totally different things. Like, okay, warm is temperature, but then there's sound. You can hear a sound, you can feel frequencies, but a temperature for a frequency, how does that correlate? You know, because someone's like, hey, I can you make my sound warm? And I don't know why it took me this long to really understand like gain staging, but when someone says they want something warm, what do? You usually go take whatever you got and warm it up in the microwave, right? Now, what's so crazy is, and this is literally the funny part that like messed my brain up. When I was in college, we had these old school SSL console like boards. And when you would get to a knob on like a channel, like, you know, those little small knobs on the channel strip, they would refer to the knobs as pots. Okay. And usually, and actually not even usually, there was an instructor that actually specifically never EQ'd. He never EQ'd, but somehow, some way, he always would get the most warm sound out of the board and out of just a mic. And he never EQ'd at all. But it would sound amazing. And I always used to wonder, like, how are you doing? Like, he would go to a knob, turn it, and then boom, it would just sound freaking incredible. And I'm like, how did you do that? Until I just realized today, when you warm something up, you have to go to the pot and turn up the temperature. Now, how does that correlate to music? Well, when someone says their vocal is not warm enough, that does not mean the volume. It means the gain. Now, why does it mean the gain? And this is the part that messed my brain up. Gain is supposed to increase how hot something gets, because the old school method was if you crank the pot, it'll get warmer. You see what I'm saying? You crank the pot to turn up the temperature. Now, if gain turns up the temperature, then what in the world is the volume knob? I'll tell you. The volume is intended to set a limit on how hot the pot gets. Bro! I did not realize this until I started cooking. Like, think about when you go to the oven top. Think about when you go to the oven top and you gotta put food on a pot. You can't cook food on a pot with a pot that's cold. You gotta turn up the temperature. Turn the temperature. The volume is the size of the pot. Exactly. How much can you fit in the... Exactly, rare species. That was the part that, like, I promise you, I was making food and I was like, That was a part, and I promise you, I was as lost as it may sound, like, and I don't want to lose any of y'all when I say this, like, literally, like, your gain is your temperature, and your volume is how much you have. Like, how hot can it get, and how big of a pot can I get? That is volume, and that's gain. And I promise you, the moment that it hit, I realized, dude, I could have saved so much time just turning up, not the volume, but the gain. But the gain. Like, I'm gonna show you a good example of this. Let me show you a good example. Let me mess y'all brain up. You ready for this? I'm gonna show you something crazy. Let me show you something. This is literally the most simplest thing. When I show you, you're gonna be like, oh. And dog, I promise on everything sacred, this was the silliest thing look at this. I'm gonna show you. So let's just pick like a random clap. Okay, or like a snare. Let's grab a snare. Grab like something really, really like teeny. I just need something small. I don't need nothing crazy. Yeah, that's good. Boom. We're gonna put this right here. So the gain, right? Your gain is not volume, but you just got the snare here and you're like, okay, cool. Sounds great. But someone's like, can I make the snare warmer? Look at this. Look at this. Look at what we're looking at here. What does it kind of look like? What does this kind of look like? Yeah. Gain staging instead of just turning up the fade. Like, this is literally the gain now. It's the gain. The pot. Now watch this. Let's say I gotta warm this. It's too hot. Okay. You make it. That snare is fried. I know. And someone goes, I need to make my snare warmer. When I tell you the epiphany of, oh! Yes, the pitch knob looks like a stove knob. That's the. Now this was literally it, bro. The literal like, oh, like I said, I was literally in the kitchen like, oh. And like what's crazy is you can make this mug as loud as you want. God, Lee, it is actually clipping too. But it don't sound bad. It don't sound bad at all. It's clipping, but even I have my, that's probably because I have my soft clip on the master. Even if you look at the master, look at this. Look at this. Smaller the pot, the less space. Yeah. Exactly, Cento. The smaller the spot, the smaller the pot. The smaller the pot, the less space you have to turn something up. Dog, literally exactly that. It just, I was like, dog, how is that different from it's literally not like, okay, if I told you, go up 10. Go down 10 on your gain. Go down 10 on your gain. Watch how different it sounds. Watch. But if you raise the temperature, because you know how they be making them fried memes when it's just everything is just distorted. That's why they call it fried, because it's hot. It's hot. And you could do this with everything. You could do this with pictures. Yeah. It's like, I'm like, oh God. The amount of times I've been in a studio session and watched somebody turn a knob and think like, what did he just do? He just cranked the temperature. It wasn't hot enough. If you were in the kitchen cooking and you were just stirring this pot and you're like, why is my food not warming up? Well, what's your temperature at? What is your temperature at, sir? I don't know. Is your saturation? Yeah. Y'all ever seen the memes where they be like frying like the mess out of Shaquille O'Neal? Like that's literally. Think of a warm photo. It's like, oh, I promise you before today, I never actually thought about this like this. That's what makes like things like the knock plugin so insane, because literally Decap is the smartest guy ever. He's the smartest guy ever. He made a machine that allows you to warm things up. And not just warm the temperature of just the entire sound, but like literally it's just gain. It's like gain. Like it's literally gain. And I'm like, that's how you get drums that like bro, it's the silliest realization I've had about music, and it just hit me in my 28 years of being alive on this planet that is what it means. It's the craziest thing ever. And what's funny is you could crank the temperature all you want. You can crank the temperature all you want, but if that pot isn't big enough, if the pot isn't big enough, it's not gonna feed anybody. Like literally, if I crank this thing, like if I just crank this and not have any size to a pot, let's say the pot is super, super small. Let's say the pot is like -12. You will notice a huge difference if you go down -26. And this is me frying the mess out of the snare. It's just how big the pot is. When you hit 0 is like, that's as big as the pot can get, unless you want to. Choice is yours though. Let them cook. Let them cook hits so different because literally we're literally cooking with frequencies. That's what music is. You're cooking with frequencies. And the fact that like it took me this long to recognize that exactly is what is happening. It makes sense when someone goes, oh yeah, my voice is not warm. That means you need to crank the. When I say crank the dial, that's literally what I mean. That is quite literally what I mean when I say crank the dial. Yeah. Eureka moment is absolutely like, and it took for me to actually make some food to like actually do it. So highly suggest you guys, if you make music, get into cooking, not just cooking with frequencies, but cooking with food. Like make a meal and just watch how like the natural principles of how the earth works start to interact with spices, with smells, with cayenne pepper, like, yeah. Seasonings. We're talking about seasonings. Seasonings. Sprinkle a little something. A little something. I hope you catch my drift. But that's it for that's all I got. I had that epiphany today, bro. And and this is actually the craziest thing. I sometimes just like transparency. I am the type of individual to think, not overthink, but think about how something works, because there's a common denominator on how something works. It's not just that it works for a specific reason. Temperature is supposed to let things cool down or heat up. Heating up is supposed to cook all the, it's crazy when you start thinking about how connected everything is. And trust me, if you guys are having this connection right now at this moment, just wait until the next thing pops up and you're gonna be like, oh, like this is me every day. This is me every day. Appreciate you, Shane. We reverse searing our MIDI. What food did you make when that hit you? I actually have chicken to bake. I have a chicken breast that I'm gonna be cooking. I have like a giant blue pot that I'm gonna like season the chicken. After I season it, I'm gonna have it in the oven. I have like rice, I have vegetables, and I'm probably just gonna meal prep to have myself solid for the next like week or so. So that is what I got going on.